to the public.
Power plants in Georgia are poisoning groundwater in spots all over the state. That's according to an environmental report that's critical of Georgia Power. The utility says its cleanup of those sites is moving faster than required by federal law. 11 Alive's Doug Richards joins us with more on what it's all about. Doug?
Well, Jeff, the report says that the poison is coming from stuff that is the byproduct of coal that fuels power plants from Savannah to northwest Georgia. Georgia Power produces tons of coal ash at its sprawling coal-fired plant Shearer north of Macon. Coal ash is the goopy stuff that's left over after coal is burned to produce electricity. Georgia Power typically stores this waste product in giant ponds adjacent to its plants. But that has poisoned groundwater, according to a report by the Environmental Integrity Project.
The list of things that make up coal ash is an alphabet soup of really toxic stuff that has been linked to cancer and all sorts of health problems.
The report describes as severe the contamination of groundwater near 7 coal-fired Georgia Power plants from a combination of potentially harmful chemicals. At Plant Bowen near Harley, boron at up to 10 times the safe level. At Plant Hammond near Rome, arsenic up to 40 times the federal standard. At Plant Harley Branch in Milledgeville, which is now closed, up to 50 times the safe level of cobalt. At Plant Shearer in Juliet, cobalt at 20 times the standard. And more contamination at power plants near Carrollton, Noonan, and Savannah. Georgia Power says it has 29 coal ash ponds and is excavating 19 of them. The other 10 are being closed in place using advanced engineering methods and closure technologies, Georgia Power said in a statement, with our top priority being to protect water quality every step of the way, complying with all state and federal requirements. Jeanette Gayer says the report shows Georgia Power needs to do more.
The bottom line is all of the coal ash in the state needs to be stored in a dry, lined, capped facility away from our rivers.
Gayer and other environmentalists do give Georgia Power some credit for being proactive in cleaning up and sealing off many of its coal ash dumps. This report, they say, strongly suggests that